From the Advent Flame News Center, this is Advent Flame News, the latest from the Seventh-day Adventist World Church.
Hello and welcome to Advent Flame News for August 8, 2020. I am Leandre Samuels. Haiti Adventist Hospital, located about a half hour outside of Port-au-Prince, was one of the first 3 hospitals in the Inter-American Division of Seventh-day Adventists to accept COVID-19 cases. The first week followed Haiti's national emergency declaration. The medical facility closed its doors to prepare teams, services, and operations for what was to come. What soon followed was an increase in prices in the market for personal protective equipment and other key items. Clínica Adventista Anastal in Iquitos, Peru, which is in the South American Division of Seventh-day Adventists, closed for much longer as a result of the outbreak in its area. According to a report by Reuters, Peru confirmed its first coronavirus case on March 6 and surpassed 10,000 cases by April 14. By the end of that month, Clínica Adventista Anastal had to shutter its doors for 30 days because of a staffing shortage. Of its 250 employees, about 75% had gone on sick leave. Director of Centura Health's Global Mission Work, Greg Hodgson, said, "One of the reasons they had such a high rate of sickness is because they didn't have an adequate supply of PPE. Centura Health is a regional partnership of Advent Health and the Adventist medical institutions in Peru, like Haiti Adventist Hospital, are footprint facilities in the Advent Health Global Missions program. While much of the work of Advent Health Global Missions takes place overseas, the team saw an opportunity to continue to support footprint facilities from home by shipping PPE in collaboration with the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, ADRA. They started by sending supplies to Haiti Adventist Hospital, Andrews Memorial Hospital in Jamaica, and Centro Médico Vista del Jardín in Dominican Republic, and then added Clínica Adventista Anastal and Hospital Adventista Valle de Ángeles in Honduras, among others. Using their combined expertise in logistics, Advent Health and ADRA have been able to send 30 pallets of PPE to hospitals in 9 different countries so far. Bolio Adventist High School in Papua New Guinea started off the 3rd term by hosting a 1-week revival series, which concluded with the baptism of 17 students and 2 teachers. New Ireland New Britain Mission President Pastor Danny Phillip ran the series of meetings on the theme, "In Christ We Prosper." Other speakers included Mission Education Director Richard Wakiti, Health Director Greg Abel, and the area supervisor, Pastor Richard Coroy. The school's deputy principal and the head girl were among those baptized. A further 27 students made a commitment to be baptized in October. School principal Raymond Imona expressed his gratitude to the 9 souls for making a bold decision to become Christ's disciple makers. He urged the students to continue submitting to the Lord. Tomo village in southern New Caledonia, previously a difficult-to-reach mission field, is now a thriving spiritual community thanks to the efforts of Adventists planting 2 churches in the region. Tomo village pastor Hatsama Venkaya said, "Our vision for church planting is not about extracting people out of their social network in order to bring them to a church that is in a building. We want to generate a movement and create a spiritual community within the existing social networks." With a missionary training program beginning in 2018, the vision for the region was to train lay leaders and local church elders to take on church leadership. Being a highly secular region of New Caledonia, other groups failed to start successful ministries. Nevertheless, a retired Adventist couple didn't let that deter them. Moving to the area in 2018, they made connections in the community and started a small per-meeting group in 2019. A church pastor was then introduced to the group, and by the end of November there were 14 non-Adventists attending per meetings and nearly 50 people attending the group's social gatherings. At per and small group meetings every Tuesday night, topics covered include restoring God's image, restoring relationships with God, and addressing core issues that break down relationships with self and others. Although COVID-19 dampened enthusiasm and progress within the church plants, once restrictions were lifted, numbers began to increase. At present, there are 14 regular non-Adventists and around 20 interests that attend the group every week. Currently, the groups are wholly under the care of church elders and lay members, giving their money and time for God's cause. Adventist Development and Relief Agency (ADRA) response teams in Lebanon are providing essential emergency supplies to recovery workers and survivors of the massive explosion in Beirut's port. The huge blast that struck the Lebanese capital city on August 4 killed at least 135 people, wounded more than 5,000, and left more than 300,000 people homeless. ADRA responders are delivering water and essential equipment to firefighters and civil defense workers, as well as bedding supplies so they will have a place to rest. ADRA teams will tour at least 5 neighborhoods, including schools surrounding the blast zone, to begin to deploy the humanitarian support, including water and food to the victims. Authorities believe the deadly blast could have been caused by tons of highly explosive material stored in a warehouse at the main port. The disaster is overwhelming the country, already dealing with an economic crisis and the coronavirus pandemic. ADRA's President Michael Kruger said, "Our prayers are with the Lebanese nation, especially the children and families affected by this catastrophe, and all who lost loved ones and are injured. We are committed to increasing our emergency response activities to provide life-saving essentials to those in need of assistance." ADRA is working with church volunteers, local authorities, and partners in Beirut to coordinate the relief and recovery operations. To assist with ADRA's emergency response in Lebanon, please visit adra.org/disasters. And finally, we remain in Beirut, Lebanon. Roni and Elza Haddad had been happily married for 15 months. Both are teachers at the Adventist Secondary School in Beirut, Lebanon. They both have a passion to reach out to their community and help spread the good news. Hope Channel Middle East and North Africa, HCMENA, has been reaching out to the younger generation in this region through digital media. One project that was initiated recently on YouTube introduces this audience to the Adventist Church's 28 fundamental beliefs. On August 4, the Haddads plan to record the program in the morning at the HC Mena studio, to be finished in a 2-hour session like usual. But due to a scheduling conflict for studio staff, however, the recording was postponed till 3:30 p.m. And for some reason, their typical 2-hour recording session took much longer than usual. The young couple patiently tried several recordings to provide their best shots for the program, although they knew they would miss their daily 6 o'clock routine at home, sitting together next to the big window where they could see a lovely view of the city of Beirut. They couldn't understand why the recording was not going smoothly like other days. Suddenly they experienced a strange power outage in the studio and the building shook terribly. That was before the second huge blast, and the entire team had to stop the recording and leave the studio. When the couple returned home, they understood why the recording was delayed. God had intervened to keep them from their usual 6 o'clock routine at home. The place where they usually sat to view the city was now covered with shattered glass as a result of the explosion and shockwave. The Haddads witnessed a miracle in disguise that afternoon, and they praised God for his protection. The HC Mena studio also suffered some damages, although it is more than 5 kilometers away from the epicenter. And with that, we conclude this week's newscast. recapping the top news stories from the Adventist World Church. Donations provide Adventist hospitals much needed support during COVID-19 pandemic. Papua New Guinea School celebrates 19 baptisms. New church plans reach the secular community in New Caledonia. Beirut explosion. Agile disaster response teams step up emergency assistance to help first responders and survivors. And Hope Channel recording saves young couple from Beirut explosions. All news stories were provided by Adventist News Network. Find these and more at adventist.news. On behalf of all of us here at Advent Flame Media Productions, I am Leon J. Samuels. Stay safe.
This was Advent Flame News. News from the Adventist World Church. This was a production of Advent Flame Media, committed to sharing hope and changing lives across the world.